Coming up next on This Week in Torrance, a community center is renamed to honor a local resident.
Then Torrance roads get a makeover this summer. We'll tell you why.
Plus, the delegates from Torrance's sister city of Kashiwa, Japan, head home after a 3-week visit. We'll show you all the highlights from this memorable trip.
And 3 off-duty firefighters help save a man's life on Catalina Island. We've got all the details.
These stories and much more just seconds away.
Your local news starts right now. Hello, everyone, and welcome to This Week in Torrance. I'm Jin Chun.
And I'm Ben McCain. Thanks for joining us. Here are your top stories. A lifelong Torrance resident and volunteer was honored for his dedication. The city of Torrance hosted a renaming ceremony honoring the late Ruben Ordaz with his own community center. In 1971, Ordaz recognized the need to build a recreation center that would benefit families in his neighborhood. He even raised funds that led to the construction of this building. For more than 50 years, Ordaz has worked to better the Pueblo neighborhood and even held the title of president of the Pueblo Homeowners Association for more than 40 years. He initiated the creation of a neighborhood park, increasing recreational opportunities for the youth and families.
Ruben's passion for his community was evident when this facility was built, as he always touted that this facility was built by and for the Pueblo community, and beamed each time that statement was even uttered.
Mayor Fury says renaming the facility the Ruben Ordaz Community Center will symbolize his legacy for years to come. Ordaz passed away March 21st, 2015.
A local man is recovering at Harbor UCLA Medical Center after a near-death attack on Catalina Island. Chris Baker, CEO of the American Conservation Experience, was on the job doing some GPS mapping for new trails on the island when he came face-to-face with a bison. He tried to walk away slowly but was attacked. Baker says he played dead until the bison walked away. Well, with a punctured lung and broken ribs, Baker came upon 3 off-duty firefighters, 2 from Torrance, who were on an annual hiking trip, who stopped to help.
We came upon Chris. Chris was just he was just gorged by buffalo, and as we came upon him, he was asking for help.
They stayed with Baker until help arrived. If it wasn't for firefighters Arnold Panner, Nathan North, and former firefighter Jay Williams, the outcome may have been very different.
We called 911, requested help, explained the situation. We just made sure to maintain pressure on the wound, keep him calm. He was in the initial stages of shock.
Baker is stable and expected to make a full recovery.
A local youth chess coach is behind bars on multiple counts of felony child sexual abuse. Michael Angelo Purcell, Sr. of Torrance, was arrested on August 29th by Torrance police and arraigned on September 1st. He was formally charged with 7 counts of lewd acts on a child under 14 and 3 counts of sexual abuse of a child under 11. Purcell worked as a children's chess coach in Torrance and throughout the Los Angeles area, offering private lessons, overnight chess camps, as well as after-school programs through his business, Think Chess Inc. Torrance police are asking that anyone with information related to this case contact the Detectives Division at 310-618-5570. Purcell is currently being held on $2 million bail.
Requesting copies of a birth, marriage, or death certificate may not come so easy anymore. Counties throughout California are beginning to ration paper as the only supplier of the special security paper unexpectedly shut down last month. Several counties in California have begun limiting residents to just 1 copy of a birth, marriage, or death certificate, which may create a problem for those needing multiple copies to obtain licenses, handle funeral arrangements, or even apply to schools. Ohio-based company SecuWork, which supplied paper to all 58 counties in California, provided intaglio printing, which is done using ink that is below the surface of the plate. The design is etched into the printing plate, which is typically made from copper, zinc, aluminum, and in some cases coated paper, which combats against counterfeits. According to the California State Association of Counties, the immediate plan is to use a Canadian company that is able to produce this type of paper. But in the long term, the state will turn to the legislature and ask whether or not this intaglio type of printing is needed, since there are so few companies who produce it.
Troubling news for one of the newest supermarket chains to open in Southern California. Washington-based Hagen, which purchased 83 Vons and Albertson stores throughout the Golden State recently, filed a $1 billion federal lawsuit against Albertsons for anti-competitive practices. Hagen purchased 146 Albertsons and Safeway stores in December and just 2 weeks ago announced plans to shut down 22 stores in California, Washington, and Oregon over the next 2 months. The lawsuit alleges that Albertsons gave Hagen misleading and incomplete retail pricing data, causing it to unknowingly inflate prices. The California stores targeted for closure include 4 in Orange County, 4 in Ventura County, and 6 in the San Diego area.
City Council members were back at City Hall this week. The city proclaimed the week of September 12th through the 20th as National Drive Electric Week here in Torrance. On Saturday, September 12th, the city will host an e-event ribbon cutting and EV Expo, giving the community a chance to even test drive electric vehicles. Then the city hosted a virtual ribbon cutting ceremony to celebrate the completion of the Stormwater Basin Enhancement Project. Members of the Public Works Department, as well as engineers who worked on this project that has spanned nearly 10 years, were at Henrietta Basin, connecting live with City Council members at City Hall. Those are just some of the highlights from this week's meeting. You can tune in to CitiCable's Time Warner Cable Channel 3, Verizon Fios Channel 31, or over the air on KNET Channel 25.2 for replays of the meeting. Well, still ahead, Torrance says goodbye to their Kashiwa counterparts. We'll share some of the highlights to their 3-week stay.
Plus, the new vaccination law goes into effect. We'll tell you what that means for new students enrolling in school.
Mom.
In your new role, we help you help. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for information on how to provide even better care for the person who once took care of you.
Repair crews in Torrance are working on one of the biggest street improvement projects. Tao Ta tells us how the city is working to minimize the impact on commuters.
It's a sight you may have seen throughout Torrance this summer. Crews working on the annual Slurry Seal program, a project designed to improve roads and make for smoother commutes.
It's huge because we're making a difference.
Anthony Caserma and his crew from Pavement Coatings Company are repairing cracked and damaged streets covering over 11 million square feet within a proposed 4-month span.
Streets like this can begin to crack and break down over time, but the thin layer of oil, asphalt, and sand, these streets turn out just as new and taken away from another 8 to 10 years before the next showing.
And despite record heat since the project kicked off, Caserma says it's ideal conditions for the Slurry Seal project.
This is perfect weather. It's ideal. Actually, the hotter the better, the quicker it dries.
And asphalt as opposed to overlay is a big savings for the city.
It's a thin layer we put down about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch. Like I said, just covers the surface of the street, seals up any cracks to keep water and any other intrusions from getting under the street and damaging the pavement.
This year, the Torrance City Council provided additional funding, making it the largest street improvement project.
They responded to what the residents were requesting and gave us an extra $1 million actually this year, particularly for this project, because we really believe in what we're doing and the positive impact that this project has on the community.
And while drivers may be inconvenienced with detours or temporary road closures, the city strives to ensure minimal impacts on its residents and commuters.
Generally, yes, about half a day each street is closed, about an hour for application and 3 to 5 hours for dry time. We'll work on several streets in a day, and we stagger the streets throughout a neighborhood because people do have to move their cars and be out of their driveways for an entire day, so we try to leave them parking options.
For Torrance City Cable, this is Tao Ta.
Thanks, Tao. You can get more information on where the work is expected next. You can go online to torranceca.gov and click on Public Works for the latest schedule.
There's a local organization known as the South Bay Center offering the LGBT community support and assistance. Jessie Pierre made a visit and tells us more.
As the newest board member for the South Bay Center, Jane Nicholson says she may have found her calling.
And I love it. I'm here in the group and at the center to help anyone who is gay, lesbian, transgender, questioning.
The South Bay Center is a second home for many in the LGBT community and has been so for 26 years. And in just recent years, a new support group was added to help those making a transition like Nicholson.
I've always felt wrong in the male role and having to, be a man.
And today, 4 years after she started her transition, she couldn't be more sure of who she is. And she has support groups to thank.
Through GSA and everything, I figured out what transgender was, and I started doing research and talking to a therapist that I was seeing, and really nailed down that I'm not gay. That it is that I am a transgender woman.
Telling her grandma was probably the hardest thing she's had to do.
I dragged my mom with me and I said, please sit with me because I'm afraid she's not gonna accept me. And I told her and she's like, so? And I was like Niagara Falls.
Nicholson, who feels fortunate to have supportive family members, knows that is not the majority, and she wants to give that same support to others in the community.
It's just kind of given me a place where I feel like I belong.
It's given me a place to talk with people that are like me. That sounds weird, but it's true.
Nicholson hopes to use her voice to promote awareness and tolerance.
We have gay marriage legalized. And, sorry, it's time. It's time to break this closet. It's time to be ourselves and not worry.
The South Bay Center is a nonprofit run by volunteers. Through donations and financial support of members, they continue to provide a wide range of services for the LGBT community. For Torrance CitiCABLE, I'm Jessie Pierre.
Thanks, Jessie. The South Bay Center is located at 16610 Crenshaw Boulevard. They plan to host their annual Pride Picnic at El Nido Park on September 20th.
It was the best of the best as boys and girls, men and women, auditioned on stage to compete in the upcoming South Bay's Got Talent competition. Here's Tao Ta with more.
As many as 31 performers danced, sung, and showed off their musical skills to see who's got what it takes to be the next winner of South Bay's Got Talent.
Talent shows can be kind of iffy, but we really wanted to give them a professional atmosphere where they could actually perform on stage with a full crew, full tech, and a full house, and just give them a chance to show what they got. And they've been coming through in flying colors.
The second annual South Bay's Got Talent auditions comes after last season's big success. 10-year-old Adina Pak showed off her impressive piano skills.
My mom's a piano teacher, and since she was always accepting students at home, I was always in my room watching and hearing them, so that's how I got into playing the piano.
Pak says the hardest part was practicing to perfection leading up to the audition.
You have to get something that, your mistakes right, and you have to practice over and over again, and that's the hard part about doing it.
But Pak, along with these other young talented performers, couldn't be any happier just to be part of this experience.
Felt kind of big, but I felt good. I feel like this big hurdle has just been removed. I've jumped over it already.
All of these talented performers who make it onto the next stage will compete in September's talent show, where they will get a full entry registration fee scholarship.
The winner's registration fee goes toward the 2016 World Championships of the Performing Arts taking place in Long Beach. For 10-year-old Chloe Wong, she's doing what she loves the most.
I just wanted to have fun and try my best.
and made a promise he only had to say.
It's just kind of fun. It's hard because you feel fun because of it, because it's just fun. I don't know, it's just fun.
Oh, because of a go. When the money is useless on. Wait.
It kind of just consumes my soul, and I just become one with the entire movie and just all these backflashes from when I was doing it in middle school, and now I'm on this stage. It's just amazing.
For Torrance City Cable, this is Tao Tao.
Thanks, Tao. If you're interested in seeing the September show, you can get your tickets and find out more by going online to torrancearts.org. As kids get ready to go back to school, administrators at Torrance Unified are getting ready to embrace a new California law designed to protect children from infectious and dangerous diseases. Jesse Pierre visited the Family Welcome Enrollment Center in Torrance and has more.
At the different desks, this is where the enrollment process takes place.
John Pearson and his staff are gearing up for a busy fall enrollment. And like all schools throughout California now, kids enrolled within the Torrance Unified School District will need to show proof of vaccination.
We do go through a screening process, so when parents come in to enroll, they have all of their paperwork with us. That includes proofs of residency, original birth certificate, immunization record.
Although the new California vaccination law does not go into full effect until July 1st of 2016, the Torrance Unified School District has gotten a head start by making sure that all of their students enrolled have their proper immunizations. According to the new Senate Bill 277, children must be vaccinated against 10 diseases, including the chickenpox, measles, and hepatitis B, just to name a few.
A highly publicized law, and so I think most folks are pretty familiar with it, and our job is not to get into a philosophical debate on immunizations.
The 3 exceptions to this law would be for children with medical problems, such as immune system deficiencies, or have a special education need, or those choosing to homeschool or take independent study programs. And thanks to the Family Welcome Enrollment Center, Torrance families can come to this one-stop shop to get all the answers.
We can provide them direction if they want to get an exemption. They have to go to their doctor and have a doctor form, sign a form, the exemption form. But beyond that, we stay true to what our policy is, which is, in order to enroll your child in school, you need to have your immunizations.
Parents like Anna Payne and Leanne Tofukuji think this law will be beneficial for all.
My kids have always been vaccinated, but just because it's something that I feel that it's a protection for themselves and for other kids.
I like it just because my middle one, who's going to go into kindergarten, he has like allergies to everything, and just to keep all the kids safe.
And with the first day of school right around the corner and over 24,000 students in the district, Pearson is anticipating a big wave of families coming through the center.
Our job is to serve the community. Our job is to serve the families and the schools in Torrance Unified School District. So if we can, whatever we can do to become more efficient and more effective at serving, providing resources.
For Torrance City Cable, I'm Jessie Pierre.
Thanks, Jesse. To get more information on immunization requirements or to find out if you have all the right forms filled out before school starts on September 10th, go to TUSD.org and click on the Enrollment Center icon on the right of your screen.
National Suicide Prevention Week kicks off on September 7th, and at the Thelma McMillan Center at Torrance Memorial Medical Center, there are many resources available for those in need. Jessie Pierre tells us more.
Dr. Mo Gelbart, a licensed clinical psychologist and executive director of the Alcohol and Drug Treatment Program at the Thelma McMillan Center, says the key to suicide prevention is to identify when someone is in need.
If you look at age groups, young people, teenagers, and older people, seniors are more likely, and the rates are higher for suicide on those two groups. And the issues you bring up for teenagers are definitely, there's low self-esteem, there's anxiety about the future, there's bullying, there's drug use.
Dr. Gilbert says when working with patients, there are a couple of things he pays closer attention to.
There are 3 levels of, as a professional, there are 3 levels that we look for. There's suicidal intent, suicidal ideations first, suicidal intent, and suicide plan. Each of them is a little more serious than the next.
The statistics are startling, and according to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, 90% of those who take their own life had a diagnosable psychiatric disorder at the time of their death.
One is to make sure you have a proper evaluation and diagnosis. So the first important thing in any kind of medical or psychiatric care is what is really wrong, what's going on with the person.
Andre Steven Abreu finds that for him, writing his thoughts or feelings down really helped take him out of his dark place.
Well, a piece of paper is always there to listen to you, for one. And you can sit there and write it down, and if you feel like showing it to somebody, you can say, no, this is how I feel. And it's easier to express your thoughts.
At the early age of 12, Abreu was diagnosed with bipolar disorder and schizophrenia. He struggles with extreme emotional swings, and while he's had suicidal thoughts, Abreu says professional help and the support of his family helps him to keep fighting.
Don't do it. You're going to hurt a lot of different people. You're going to crush many lives.
Suicide is an attempt to say, I'm feeling so much pain, I have to get out of this. And you don't have to feel that kind of pain.
Thanks, Jesse. You can get more information about the programs available at the Thelma McMillan Center for Alcohol and Drug Treatment by calling 310-784-4879. You can also go online and make a confidential inquiry at torrancememorial.org.
Still ahead, 9 Kashiwa delegates visit Torrance for a 3-week stay.
That's right, Ben. It was an exciting but short 3 weeks for our friends visiting from Kashiwa, Japan. You won't want to miss all the highlights.
We'll have that and much more still ahead.
So you see, son, good manners are important. Should I go through it again?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, excuse me, sit up straight, hold doors open for ladies. If the door's locked, knock first, don't burp, don't swear, don't stare, don't use bad language, or talk with your mouth full, keep your elbows off the table.
What table?
And don't interrupt. Cover your mouth when you cough or sneeze. On the bus, give your seat up to anybody who has trouble standing. Bottom line, treat others the way you want to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
Good talk.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain.
Welcome back, everybody. It's a program that began in 1973, promoting friendship, goodwill, and understanding between the city of Torrance and the city of Kashiwa, Japan. This summer, we welcomed a 9-member delegation, which included 8 students and 1 adult leader. They were welcomed at LAX when they arrived after their long flight from Narita, Japan, and kicked off their 3-week visit with a welcome reception and potluck dinner, and even a hoedown with homemade chili. Members of the Torrance Sister City Association and the Torrance City Council were also on hand to welcome this year's delegates. Now, throughout their first week, they were taken to the Torrance Historical Society and Museum. They also saw iconic landmarks in Torrance like the El Prado Bridge, Rocket Ship Park, and of course, the Torrance Beach, Farmers Market at Wilson Park, as well as an overnight trip to San Diego. Students got a first-hand look and tour of the Torrance Police and Fire Departments, even getting a chance to try on the heavy gear.
And while the sightseeing was entertaining, Kashiwa Exchange students got a chance to connect with local students and teamed up with a cooking session right on campus. Tao Ta was there for all the fun.
South High senior Allison Soriyoshi is getting ready to cook up a 4-course meal with the help of her new friends visiting from Kashiwa, Japan.
So look for whipped cream cheese. That's your mission.
Whipped cream cheese. Soriyoshi is a member of the Torrance Sister City Association. She, along with 4 others from South High, are hoping to make all 8 delegates feel like they're right at home, sharing the experience of cooking up an all-American meal.
I think we're good with this one.
In total, these students spent about $100, and now they're on their way to South High School to make some favorite American dishes.
Okay, you want to do whipped cream? Cream, yeah.
The South High and Kashiwa students broke out into teams of 4, mixing in Torrance students who spoke Japanese to help with the translation.
We like mixing the Torrance students with the Kashiwa students because all the measurements done in Japan are in milliliters, and we do cups and teaspoons and tablespoons, so it's nice having the American perspective that helps the Japanese students with measuring.
It's a great experience to bond, and they don't know our measurements, so it's a great way for them to learn something new. Most of us can't cook, so we rely on each other, so it's good. Rieko, can you put 1 cookie in each? Okay. Yeah?
Reiko Takatsuka is one of the 8 exchange students visiting from Kashiwa, Japan.
Most favorite part is mixing egg and cream cheese and sugar, and for example, cuts vegetable or baked meat.
While there were obstacles along the way,
the hardest part is just knowing when it was done, because it looked the same as we put it in, and the instructions said it should be a golden brown, so we're like really confused.
cooking in a team setting for the most part was a great learning experience for these students.
I usually don't cooking in my house, so this is my first time.
It was a memorable experience, learning about teamwork, sharing, and respect for both cultures. For Torrance CitiCABLE, this is Tao Tao.
Thanks, Tao. Well, a trip to California would not be complete without a visit to one of the largest shopping malls in America. Students had the opportunity to spend a little cash at Del Amo Fashion Center and take home some great finds. Spending a few hours here, students and their host families enjoyed a day outdoors.
It gives you a perspective of who they really are and lets them have the opportunity to really see American culture in a home where you don't get to see that if they stay in a hotel.
Now, beyond the sights, it was the people-to-people connection that has made this program a successful one. And after an 18-day stay in the city of Torrance, the TSCA hosted a final sayonara banquet to give guests and their host families one last chance to have dinner and share with the Torrance Sister City Association their experience. Jessie Pierre has more from the event.
Saying goodbye is never easy, and it was especially tough for visiting students as well as host families at this year's Sayonara Banquet.
The first time I said hello to Mizuki was 3 years ago when I went to Japan. 3 years ago was also the first time I had to say goodbye. I didn't expect it to get any easier the second time around, but that's okay because how lucky I am to have known somebody that makes saying goodbye so hard.
But despite the tearful goodbyes, the celebration represents the partnership of two cultures, two cities, and two communities, a bond created more than 40 years ago. And tonight's Sayonara Banquet symbolizes what this program is all about.
The Student Culture Exchange Program provides the students of Kashiwa and Torrance a wonderful opportunity to develop new and strong bonds, friendships, and relationships with each other.
The Sayonara Banquet is a celebration of new friendships, enriching cross-cultural experiences, and lots of wows and oh my gosh, this is what I heard about, but now I experience it. These new friendships help deepen our appreciation and understanding between citizens of Kashiwa and Torrance.
Each of the 8 student delegates, along with their adult leader, also got a turn to say their farewell.
They are my American family. I never forget that time. I was able to get great experience in their 3 weeks. I think that this experience becomes a lifetime treasure for me.
That time I spent in Torrance was so much fun, and I can't believe that time to say goodbye has come so soon.
The banquet was held at the Doubletree in Torrance and included a huge cake with a photo of the Kashiwa delegates and dinner. The students and many host families, dressed in traditional kimonos, sang and danced together as a big family. And for Allison Abraham, this is a bittersweet farewell.
Despite the language barrier, we shared pictures, secrets, favorite songs, and stories. Like real sisters.
For Torrance CitiCABLE, I'm Jessie Pierre.
Well, that does it for us on This Week in Torrance. I'm Ben McCain. If you've missed any portion of our show, you can catch us again at 11 a.m. and 6 p.m.
And I'm Jin Chun. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.